Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Biomimicry Online Live. This is episode 14. Now, in previous episodes, we've looked at some of the concepts that Swain covers in our Biomimicry Online course, the likes of biomimicry as a way of being, rediscovering our planet, reconnecting with self, reconnecting with fellow life on Earth, learning from life, and applying life's lessons. And during these, we invite discussions, collaborations, and guests to join in us as well. Now, we mentioned the online biomimicry course that focus on biomimicry as a way of being, where reconnecting with, learning from, and emulating life becomes a way of life, and that these chats are focusing on an important element or seed of biomimicry, that reconnect seed. Now, last time we had a lovely chat with Alan McFadden and learned how photography has played such a key role in his deep connection with and love for nature. And this time, we're going to be chatting with animal communicator Kate Muller. But first, before we're joined by Sue and today's guest, Kate, let's take a step back and remind ourselves about some of the core elements of biomimicry. Check this out.
Imagine an experience that ignites the same spirit of adventure and pursuit of discovery as exploring the outer limits of space, but where the adventure lies not beyond our galaxy, but right here in exploring the extraordinary diversity and hidden depths of this planet. An experience that reveals how nature is a vast library of ingenuity we can learn from. A library filled with proven, real solutions for all our human development and sustainability challenges. Solutions based on the billions of years of research and development by the natural world's designers, architects, engineers, and scientists. This is the science of biomimicry, the practice of learning from and emulating nature's genius. Biomimicry is at the forefront of innovation. It is the next revolution, the natural revolution.
Sue, Kate, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. How are you guys doing?
Great, thanks, Roger. Thanks for the wonderful intro as always. And yeah, so good to be here.
No problem. Hi,
excellent.
Kate, how are you?
Hi, good. I must say, I'm getting more and more fascinated to do your Biomimicry Online course.
It is just one of those topics that just it consumes you once you get into it, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to get straight stuck into it because I know I'm really keen to listen to you guys have a little chat. And Sue, I know you got a whole lot of questions lined up. So I'm basically going to hand it over to you, Sue, and then you can sort of take it away.
Wonderful. Won't you bring up that beautiful quote for me?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm just going to kick off with these fantastic words. to the lovers of all things wild, and the hearts that yearn for our sacred selves. Know yourself as part of nature, not separate. The whole yearns for you as you yearn for it, for connection, love, and understanding. So you can imagine, with the beauty and depth of those words, my absolute joy at having the opportunity to chat with the person who penned them. The wonderful Kate Muller. Kate, it's such a joy and delight and pleasure and privilege. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think just to kick us off a bit, won't you share what provoked those beautiful words you wrote, that quote, and also maybe just the journey you've been on to find yourself where you are now, animal communicator.
Right. Well, just thank you, Sue. And it's really just such a pleasure to be here talking with you guys and sharing this topic of really the reconnection with nature. I think has been pivotal in growing my ability to talk with animals. And I always like to sort of very clear that this is something inherent in absolutely everybody. So that is our starting page. I'm not special or unique or different. Yes, this has become my passion to follow in life and to help others with, but we all have that inherent natural capacity. And that quote, I think it was in my 20s. I was admittedly doing a lot of searching. I was moving a lot, doing different jobs, living in wild and often remote places. And I can't remember the exact moment, but that general time, and I still do that, I would spend really a lot of time just walking in nature to find myself, to try and find that sense of peace, actually. I mean, ultimately, what is finding oneself, but ultimately a deeper sense of being present, being on track in life, really knowing I'm in the right place at the right time. One of my friends joked saying, Kate, you're always searching. I was like, I know, there's something else I need to find. And then really when I started animal communication, that was a big part of where I kind of now I've found what I was searching for. Yeah.
I remember reading something on your website about how you had a dream of this, I think a red post box that then was suddenly overflowing with letters from animals.
Yes. Yeah, literally. I did always, I had an inkling that there was a calling, and we often say calling as if it's coming from outside, but it's actually from within us that's calling for something else, and an interest in intuition and understanding energy, but also always with a deep love for nature. And yeah, that dream was the pivotal kind of moment from when I was doing environmental education to switching over to animal communication.
Oh, well, fabulous. Well, they were calling you.
Those letters, this tidal wave, they had to be answered. And I wasn't getting to them, and they were just growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, man. I think what also spoke to me about that quote of yours is that I've always kind of, when I was putting together the online course, was picturing, we've got the egocentric view, which is like the pyramid of life where man's up at the top, versus the ecocentric, and that it's this wonderful interconnected web of life. But that through various journeys we took ourselves on as a species, we kind of have put ourselves outside of that. But I've always pictured it like that we're part of that puzzle. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that is missing a piece, and that nature is yearning for us as much as we are yearning for her. We complete her, and it's stepping back into the fold. Really time for us to do that. Yeah.
Sue, that is such a powerful conversation, and it's one that's being had more and more, certainly amongst scientists, amongst people who work with metaphysics and communication with nature. It's the idea that we're separate is only an idea, and it's the way that we're relating. We are always in connection, and that's ultimately what I teach and I practice through animal communication, is that we actually start acknowledging that we are, simply by the fact of living, we are in relationship, which means we're in connection. We get to choose consciously what that looks like, how that feels for the other, and how that feels for us.
Beautiful. And that brings us to the real theme of the reconnecting. Now that in biomimicry, we talk about 3 seeds, and that's one of the 3 key seeds. And from a biomimicry angle, it's really this shifting from regarding nature just as this warehouse of resources to extract from, to viewing her as this wonderful library of solutions we can learn from, and to how I personally feel as just this wonderful living guide to living wisely and well, but really that she's our home, and it's time for us to step back in, you know.
And I think if we can add sorry, I'm interrupting, if we can add another word,
go for it.
That she's our friend.
Yes, absolutely.
We're simply companions. Earth is going through evolution as much as we're going through evolution.
So please, just like, I'd really love to explore what, reconnecting means to you on a deep level, and how you then play it out in your what you do, and with how you're helping people to connect as well, to reconnect. As you say, we are connected. We're just not always so conscious of it.
No. And you've actually done something very important here. It's part of where it starts. It's how we view nature, be that a landscape, be that the animals that we share our life with, be that wildlife, be that insects, the way that we actually see them. It's like with a person, we've done so much work in our cultural and our political sphere to reduce sexism, to reduce, when we see children as also belittling them, when we see other races and racism and seeing them as less than. It's the same for speciesism, when we see other species as somehow less than or other than ourselves. And really, animal communication is a very, very deep practice of seeing all other life as equal in sentience. So really that it has a right to life that is very equal, but also that it has the qualities, especially like for animals, they have emotion, thought, but they also have soul. That's equal to us, which when we just actually sit with that thought is quite profound in terms of then how we actually relate with them.
Absolutely. And, it is something I think many people have struggled with, simply because of these kind of journeys that we took ourselves on, from the agricultural revolution to the scientific revolution, where suddenly reverence for the earth was declared obsolete and pagan, and nature was just this dead assembly of atoms. And that's kind of where it started, then into the industrial and petrochemical and who knows what's still on our, happening. But that there was this, that nature existed for us to dominate, and that we are greater than, and everything. And it's so beautiful to hear how you're experiencing it, and how we should all really be experiencing it.
And it's interesting, like you use that word dominate, that's a very big thing. I work with domestic animals primarily.
Yes.
And it's, animal communication is also very much part of this change from a dominance-based training system with the animals in our home, that you have to show them that you're the leader. And it's through often what used to be a physical dominance and a very emotional dominance to rather a participation, and that we teach through kindness and positive, I hate the word reinforcement, positive marking, actually, which is like guidance. With teaching, that really it's like that we treat animals like we would be like to be treated ourselves. Yes, there are certain species specific things that we can do, and that we need to do to really meet the other, to meet the species. It's like if you meet a person from another culture, if you know a bit about that culture, you can meet them on their terms, so that there isn't such a difference that you don't understand each other. So yes, having an understanding of the species and what turns them on a physical, practical level. Oops. Did we lose you there? Did you lose me?
I'm losing Roger. Were you able to follow Kate there?
Yep, it's all good my side. You guys look like you're back on track now.
Okay. All right. Great. So Kate, sorry, I missed a bit, so forgive me if I repeat maybe something that you said, but it's very much about trust, isn't it? Mutual trust. Yeah.
Yes. And so the practice of animal communication, essentially it's deeply learning to trust yourself on what your inner knowing is saying, and really grappling with that. What am I sensing, feeling of the other? And in that way, we enter into a deeper relationship. And we're all doing that with our animals anyway. Because we don't share spoken language, although a lot of people would contest that. It's like, what? My cat talks to me all the time. And they are literally having a running conversation in their head. And it gets very funny because when they come to an animal communicator, they're, what? How does my cat know that? It's like, yeah, because you talk with your cat all the time.
Yeah.
But this trust, I feel for me, my personal sort of entry and pathway to animal communication has been through my relationship with nature primarily. And yes, studying metaphysics and spirituality, but a lot has been really like nature has been the container. And I think so many of us people who either work for nature, within nature, or want to, or work in all spheres, we go to nature to come home to ourselves. Whether it's looking at a garden, looking out the sky at the birds flying, going to the ocean. Why? Because it makes us feel good and at peace inside.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, what we're doing is consciously training through animal communication. Okay, how do I actually also consciously access that place in me anywhere, anytime?
And I think that is the secret. It's just like anything, one needs to practice and I haven't got the right word. Just keep it going, because I just remember, like during COVID, when I didn't drive my car, when I then started driving her again, she gave me all sorts of problems. Need to be kept going and practiced all the time. Yeah. And it's also intuition. The trust and intuition are so closely linked, aren't they?
They are. And in terms of with animal communication, you see, to listen to another, you have to start listening to yourself as well.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. And that's a journey.
I can attest to that. It's a journey I'm still on. I'm in awe of yourself. I had the privilege of attending one of your workshops, and perhaps we can go into that now. Is how do you actually help people who are wanting to experience that deeper reconnection through animal communication? Do you want to share just what you actually do? Yeah.
Well, I think I do one-on-ones primarily with people. So
yes,
I love it when people come to say, like, I just want to know what my animal's thinking and saying. I do have one client who loves to just gift her animals with a communication, to really give that opportunity to have a voice, because it deepens their relationship and it brings more peace and harmony to the home, to things that so often I think in our lives with animals, they're niggles, they're things that we just, that's just a fussy cat, or she's just an overeater, or he's just anxious. And it doesn't need to be that way. So a lot of the work I do, it's working with those so that those animals can have a different experience of themselves, ultimately, their true nature.
Yes.
Yeah. And so through the one-on-ones, then I also teach workshops, weekend workshops, and that's then teaching we do intuition games, but also then talking with other people's animals, so that you really develop almost like you get the proof by talking to an animal that you don't know.
And
And
you're
you go,
not
oh my gosh, this is
projecting
what
it.
my intuition showed me. And I'm just looking at a
Yes,
photograph.
sure.
So we are literally teaching telepathy with animals so that
Mm,
animals can hear us. And then we talk about, okay, what does this look like at home, so that your animal can actually hear you more clearly? How do you be more clear that they can
mm,
pick you up? And
mm,
whether that's in your home or whether you're working, they're little things. I mean, I think just in the very basic, it's paying attention to our thoughts, the images in our mind, and the emotion that we're feeling, because so often we're talking to them, but we're feeling something opposite. We're saying, honey, everything's okay. Don't worry, be calm. And inside you're a nervous wreck.
yeah.
I'm just going away for like 2 nights. You're going to be fine. And then your cat is going, I need to climb into your suitcase because you're looking really stressed about leaving me alone.
Oh, shame. Oh, that is
And
one thing I learned from the course that I went on with you, was to also, you realize that they are so intuitive, the animals, that, they know more or less more before I do that I'm going away. And I think they really just wanted me to tell them about it, and how long I was going to be for, and that it's actually quite cool. It's fine, off you go, but just let us know.
lovely. And I wanted to bring in, what does this mean in terms of reconnecting with nature? But for me, it's like reconnecting with our true inner nature,
Mm,
which
mm,
brings greater peace to our lives, like the peace that
yeah.
we feel when we're out, in a forest or in a beautiful landscape.
Mm,
Because when
mm,
we're working with our intuition, it brings incredible peace and momentum and power to our lives.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I also want to get the wording right. I'm going to read. I must probably have to reach for my glasses to do this. But where you say that today talking telepathically is your new normal, which is so beautiful. But that you continue to say that every conversation brings joy, wisdom, and wonder. I mean, just wow, what a joy.
Yeah. When you're talking, because we're looking at animals really as physical beings, in their environment with physical, practical needs from their people and their environment. But we're also looking at them as emotional beings, which means they're in relationships. So what are they actually also needing from others?
Yes.
What has happened in their past? How did they respond? How can that be healed ultimately? And then
Right.
we're looking at their spiritual nature, which is the bigger soul that is in relationship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter what our belief system is. I think everyone who loves animals knows, like, when you look in that animal's eyes, often you go, what wisdom is there? Like,
Absolutely.
who are you? And they live
Mm.
with us, damn it. They often know us better than we know ourselves. So
Yes.
as a communicator, I get to put into words that feeling that we get
Um,
from our animals. Like when we sit with them and we feel like the world becomes okay, we make sense of things. That
mm,
feeling, your mind processes and you go, okay, this is what I need to do. And we put it aside. And often that's with a specific animal. It's not necessarily with all animals. Most people have
yes.
experienced different animals really trigger different emotional experiences for them.
Mm, mm,
And as a communicator, I get to put that into words, basically, what that is and what they're saying and the advice they're giving. Yeah. As a
yeah.
soul who knows you deeply and
Yes.
is invested in your well-being.
Yeah. Wow. Kate, I mean, it's simply beautiful what you do. And, I mean, I don't have the depth that you are able to go to. I'm nowhere near there yet, but I have these encounters with generally more with wildlife, but where I'm talking even insects and things
Mm.
like that. There is just this moment where there is eye contact made, and it's this I see you and you see me moment that to me is just something phenomenal. There is something that happens. It's visceral. Like I don't know. That's most probably the wrong word, but it's just something so deep that I can't say that I'm really communicating, but it's just this witnessing of each other's life. Yeah, it's just wonderful.
Well, I think what's important is the word communication also comes from, to commune, to
Yes.
be with.
Mm.
And, that's truly the root of communication. Yes,
Beautiful.
we've added words to it, but
Yes.
it's based on this felt sense
Mm.
of connectivity where
So I
we
think I
do
might be
witness.
getting there, Kate.
Dude, I saw you. I know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And what you do already. And this isn't, again, like so many people are doing this naturally all the time. This is not about almost becoming something different. It's actually just becoming more aware of, like I said, the little things of what we are doing or what we are saying or how we're thinking about another. If we really just think of the animals as another person in our home, am I engaging with them in the way to really bring out the best in them possible? Yeah.
Wonderful. And because I can imagine you also do get called in, to help with animals that have gone through some trauma and that. And I know we also may well have quite a few vet students, Roger, that might be listening. Have you got any experiences and things you can share that may help, some students who are going into that line?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, it's dealing with trauma when you have both the animal and the person who's in panic, and it's the ability personally to grow that capacity to remain calm in those situations yourself, but a calmness that remains the clarity of mind of what you need to do, but that you can also be compassionate to the others in the space, that because sometimes in calmness we can cut off to to protect ourselves.
Yes.
And it's to how do we remain peaceful that remains very openly compassionate, but you can still be strongly boundaried. It's about taking charge of what needs to be done, being practical.
Yes.
And that deeper piece also means really being able to listen more to the animal's needs and attend to that. And often, especially when it's real trauma, it's that assessment of what's needed here, especially if you're looking at end of life, decisions. And certainly a lot of, especially with chronic cases, rescues, and I used to do a lot of work where it was, is my animal ready to pass over? And that question, I think this is one of the most difficult questions always that vets face. And how do you listen to that? And that's something, just taking a step back, that talking with animals, but also observing nature and appreciating nature. It's been a deeper appreciation of the cycle of life, that death really is part of it, and a deep emotional acceptance of death and change, and really coming to terms with that within myself. Two, it's knowing how much kind words do make a difference, and kind thoughts and kind feelings. I read a profound book by a surgeon she was the first Navajo woman to become a surgeon. I think it was in the 80s. And she started realizing a couple of years, I think it was about 5, 6, 7 years, because she was actually working, it was on the edge of a reserve. So it was with a lot of indigenous, a lot of, excuse my language, from her tribe. And basically, but they weren't, it was that she needed to start speaking with them in a way that really met them and their needs. And through really observing the other, what do they need, she started becoming much more self-aware. She started becoming really self-aware during surgery, that she kept her thoughts positive and clear. She started also practicing more of a spirituality for herself. And she started making sure that the conversations during surgery were kept uplifting and positive, that when before surgery and after surgery, she was very compassionate and uplifting in how she spoke with people. And she saw her recovery rates improve dramatically.
Amazing.
Because she practiced a deeper peace, but also she practiced words of kindness. And that is a huge part of how I work in terms of healing. It's about activating that relationship with the telepathy and energy work with the animals, and then actually guiding their people in those conversations, with the animals.
Sure. I also remember a conversation that we had about when people find wild animals in distress, maybe they're caught in a fence or something like that, how it's possible to transcend that fear and everything just by entering through a space of calm.
Yes.
And
and explaining to the animal what's going to happen, so that they actually really understand. And that's, I mentioned those first things, that they are sensing us, the images, thoughts, and emotion. So when we really bring that together very consciously, and just make a clear, simple picture, that's really where there's a lot of power. And this takes practice. So I know some people are, but I was doing it. It's like, yes, but it's like any new art, like learning to do yoga. It is also a muscle that the more we practice and work, and we have to become aware of not looking for our instant results or our desired outcome as a validation of, is it working or not? Like I remember one dog showing me from the vet, that the vet nurse really telling her that everything, that it was okay for her to pass over.
Really?
And so this dog had, and I just saw how in that moment, this just really kind, compassionate person had taken the time to just really be with her, really witness where she was, and also where this dog was at that point of indecision, of wanting to stay for herself and for her person. And the vet really weren't just words, it was a real feeling of it's okay. And you could feel that animal go, oh, actually, it is. And those waves of that emotional letting go.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And
so we do in communication, we bring a lot of awareness to our emotions, and acknowledging them and facing them and working through them.
Yes. It's, I think the workshop that I attended, it really was for me a life-changing experience, to really start to understand how this can all actually be applied in one's life as well. And so, Kate, really, I can't thank you enough for that, the gift that you gave me of that weekend. And I'm sure there are many, many out there who feel the same. And Kate, I was also just wondering, one of the things apart from the reconnect is that real learning from nature, which is an essence of biomimicry. And I was wondering if you have, over your last 10 years of animal communication, what it is that you've really learned from nature or animals as such, in particular.
That everything is sentient.
Yeah.
That there's also wisdom. When we connect to our wisdom, there's wisdom in everything, and there's this truth, and there's this life, and there's this knowing, and also the power of two or more coming together. So that's also, I have this flower of life behind me, because it's a symbol of, from the circle, from the individual, the meeting place with others, we create these petals. This was a new creation. It's the third, the divine third, which creates more and more. And that's, creation, basically. but we have to be whole in ourselves, in that relationship, in
Right.
those relationships,
Yeah.
and to create that, the beauty. So it's been a journey of deeply considering and recognizing, like, the wisdom essentially within everything when we just stop to listen. And that's been a big journey for me. It's been really learning to stop and slow down inside, to truly listen, and within myself and to another. Yeah.
That's beautiful, because I think, for me, that has also, in my journey with biomimicry, has been the awareness of just the incredible innate wisdom of everything that happens in nature, and from the big systems thinking down to, the littlest microbe. It's just simply amazing. Leonardo da Vinci said, in nature's inventions, nothing is lacking, nothing is superfluous. But there's such greater depth to that even, that's, yes, sure, in the physical design and everything like that, but there's more. And it's just this understanding that I think there is that real Ubuntu. I love that African concept of Ubuntu, but I feel that it goes back further than how we currently apply it, where it's just a person-to-person thing.
Yeah.
That I do believe our forefathers could say that with clarity and understanding to a tree, that I am because you are. And I feel the really important part, though, is to bring that full circle, to say, I am because you are, because I am. And, and I think that's what happens for me when I have that moment of connection, that eye contact. I had it just the other day with a chameleon that came across in the forest. And, it was just, it gives me goosebumps as I think of it now, and so.
It does change us, when we really think of ourselves as part of nature, and that I am because we are in the greater context. And there are many traditions where that belief is. It's like my family and community. It's the community of all life. And
Yes.
I think that is such a powerful consideration, where we really, because it changes how we not only how we think and how we do things. When we think of, this is my family and my community, it changes how we dream and what we dream possible for ourselves.
Absolutely.
But my dreaming is dreaming for the earth. Like, what I believe is possible for me as a member of nature, as a part of nature, as connected to nature, that makes a difference to the whole. Each circle, each little piece is what makes up this beauty around us.
And to never think that, the smallest little things that we do, they do make a difference. And I think, yes, once we can start to understand that we're part of this magnificent web of sentient beings and fellow earthlings, and that when you really start to understand that the earth is our home, it's just really beautiful. And I think on that note, Raj.
No, I think that's a perfect place to end it. You guys have been fantastic. It's been really amazing listening to you both, and just thank you so much. I guess any final words from you, Kate?
No, I think that was a beautiful note to end on, and just thank you so much. It's been really beautiful speaking. I forgot that we were online, Sue.
Absolutely. Oh, no, thank you, Kate. It's been wonderful, and I just hope many, many more people make contact and with you to learn this wonderful gift that you share. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And anyone watching this on replay, maybe didn't catch it live, feel free to keep posting questions or comments or anything. One of us will get back to you with an answer or some feedback on anything you posted, so please do. Keep watching out for more live streams. Go and follow up and look into Kate and check out her website. Go and check out some of the stuff Sue's doing, but obviously go and check out the Biomimicry Online courses that we got going. They're absolutely fantastic. It brings together so many of these conversations that we've been having. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again, Kate. Thank you so much, Sue. And yeah, we'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.